What's going on? This is Samuel back at you again on another episode of the Inspired Podcast, where we're inspiring you to live the abundant life you deserve. So, I have another awesome guest on the line, and this guy is a real estate agent and he lives in Alabama. And we met back in college in about 2010, 2011. We
Yeah.
met back in college, Tuskegee University. Shout out to you.
Hey.
So if you don't know, now you know. But Rashawn, tell us a little bit about what you do now.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you for having me on there. But yeah, man. So like you said, I live in Alabama. I live in Huntsville, northern part of Alabama, and I've been a real estate agent for about the past 5.5, coming up on 6 years now. And what I do is, I try to help change lives, in my field by just helping people move into a home. A lot of people feel that they can't afford to move into a home, and I make the process very simple and show them how they can do it with, no money out of pocket and sometimes very little out of pocket. But I'm really big on just, giving back and just being, part of my community in the way that I can.
Nice. So what inspired you to get into real estate?
Man, so before I got into real estate, I was actually working as a car salesman in Houston. And I used to work Monday through Saturday. So every day, basically, like 12, 13, 14-hour shifts. And I was miserable. Like, I hated it. I used to work so much. Like, my son would be asleep in the morning before I would leave to go to work because I left so early. And when I got home after work, he was still asleep. So I would never see him, unless I woke him up out of his sleep. So I love sales, but those hours just didn't work for me. So when I moved to Huntsville, I was thinking like, well, if I can sell Escalades and Cadillacs for $100,000, I know I can sell a house. So I got into real estate. It gave me that flexibility I really needed to spend time with my family because you can control your own hours essentially. So that was one thing about it that just really caught my attention is that, flexibility and I don't know, man, just being able to just look inside nice homes all day and just help people with the biggest purchase of their lives. So it was a no brainer for me to get in real estate.
Nice.
Absolutely.
So it was just mostly flexibility for you and the ability to see your children because I can relate to that because I I was doing the same thing. I would be gone from morning to night, and when I wake up, their children are still sleeping, and I come back home, they're going to bed. So I could understand that hustle and bustle life, and you just jump in, trying to get to somewhere where you could control your own time,
Yeah.
especially. Yep, go ahead.
What did you do?
I was part of
You
I
good?
was part of UPS. I was management UPS.
Yeah, yeah.
So those days are long just because you gotta wait till the last driver comes back. All packages gotta deliver. So stuff like that was just
Yes, yeah.
long days.
Yeah. And I feel like the older like we get, the more you realize like money isn't the only motivation for people. Like when you're young, fresh out of college, you want the job that's paying you the most. But
Yeah,
once you start having kids and like starting a family, your motivation changes from I don't really care about making the most money if it takes away from me being able to spend time with my family and my children. So
yeah,
that's where I differ from a lot of people I know and work with. They're all about who's going to pay me the most. And I'm like, I'll take a pay cut, give me more time with my family. Because
yeah,
you only get one chance to do to raise
yeah. That's true,
them.
and that's important because family is important to me as well because I can't imagine. I used to be like, babe, I'm gone all day. I can't see the children. They're growing up. Like, so when I left, I was just sitting there, like just paying attention to them. I was there laying out in the backyard on the carpet, just chilling with them, just enjoying the moments because there's so much that I missed.
For
They
sure.
were about 1 year olds. So nice.
Good. Well, I'm glad you made that decision to actually leave your job because some people they stick it out for their job for 40 years, 30, 40, 50 years, man, and they miss out on raising their children and they have a poor relationship with them. And it's really, really hard to reverse time and go
Yeah.
back and say, let me do it all over again. So they get that new start when they have grandkids, but the relationship is still kind of rocky because they don't have a close relationship with their children. So
Yeah.
you can always go back to work and make money, but like I said, you can only raise your kids one
True.
time.
So break it down for me. Say somebody's watching this right now and they want to become a realtor or join you on their real estate journey.
Mhm.
What would you tell them?
Yeah, oh, it's easy, man. So the first step I would say is, find out whatever state you're in, look up the requirements to get your real estate license. So for me, being in Alabama, I had to take a 60-hour course. You can take it online or in person, but I took mine online and in person, like a hybrid learning. And then I took an exam. And once I took that exam, the next step was you got to get like registered, in the MLS and your pay for your license and all of that stuff. But then you find a broker, man. You find a broker, somebody who kind of fits what you're looking for. And for me, a broker is essentially like like an overseer, a manager, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
They basically watch over everything you do to make sure you're adhering to the real estate guidelines and laws. And so my broker, when I met him, the first thing he told me was, God comes first, your family comes second, and working for me comes third. And that was just like mind blowing to me because most people I've always worked for, it was always like, you need to be here. I need you at work. I need you making me money, making the company money. And that was just a mindset I've always had. So he kind
yeah,
of flipped things upside down for me. And but yeah, once you get into real estate, you get your license and find your broker, man. It's really just, finding people you can help. And I'm a firm believer that everybody can be helped. Most people live somewhere, right? Whether you're renting or whether you own, you live somewhere. And
yeah,
so when I talk to people and I ask them, where do you live? Are you renting? And they say they're renting. I ask them, well, how much are you paying? And they say, 15, 1600. And I just ask them, well, what if I can get you in a house with the same payment you have now? Would you do it? And they usually say, well, yeah, and then I just go over the process and get them into a house.
nice. So, what's been like one of the most challenging part of jumping into real estate for you?
For me, man, I would say it was just a transition because I had a 9 to 5 essentially. I had a job where I had a steady paycheck every single week. I would get paid every Friday, and we get in this place of comfortable, like we're comfortable here. Like I know I
Yeah,
get paid, I don't have to worry about it. But I come from a background of sales anyway, so I've had jobs where I was 100% commission, but I never had a job 100% commission with children. And so I
yeah,
had 2 kids at the time, and I was just like, man, I don't think I could do this because what if I don't make any money? Knowing I would, but like, what if I don't? I still got to pay for diapers and bills and wipes and all of this stuff, car note. And I prayed for a long time, dude. I mean, I prayed for months. Like, God, do you really want me to leave this hospital job and go into real estate? And all the confirmation I was getting was yes. And so even though he told me yes, my final straw was I had a evaluation at my company and they were giving out raises. Now I worked the night shifts. I worked 12-hour shifts, so everybody was asleep when I was working. So nobody, I didn't interact with anybody. But
yeah,
they gave me a 5 cent raise. They gave me a 5 cent raise, and I was like, I told her the next day, I said, yeah, I think it's time for me to leave. I think God is telling me to go into real estate. So I made that transition, man. I left, jumped in, and I struggled for a couple months in real estate, but I grinded it out, and I
yeah.
mean, it all had its upside after that. After the first 5 months, it was just just kept hitting higher and higher levels.
Nice. So I want to stay here for a minute because it's very important because you had a family of two at the time when you jumped out. So being the we as men have to provide for our family and have to make sure everything stick together. How were you jumping? How was it for you jumping ship and knowing that man, it's up to me. I gotta make this happen.
That's a
How
lot
was
of
that? Those emotions and stuff.
it's a lot of pressure, man, for sure. It is a lot of pressure having like all of the weight on your shoulders, and by that, my wife was helping out for sure. Of course, she was
Yeah.
working, but as a man, you just feel like it's your responsibility to take care of your household. And I thank God for Jazz, my wife, because she was very supportive. She was like, "Whatever you do, I support you 100%." And that gave me the boost to say, "Okay, well, no matter what happens, I know she's going to be here with me." So even if he had to, and this is true story. Like there were some nights we had to go DoorDash with both of our kids in the car, and we would DoorDash maybe 1, 2 hours, 3 hours, might make $20, dude. And I mean, we put 10 in gas and go buy a pizza with the other 10. You smiling. You've been there before, huh? You've been there. But see, this is the stuff people don't want to talk about. Like, this is the stuff people want to hear because you see social media and Facebook and Instagram, and everybody's making, everybody's successful. Everybody has a six-figure job. Everybody drives a Mercedes and a BMW, but that's not the case. I know people personally who, if you look at their social media, you would think these people are millionaires, they're doing everything right. And that's not the case. Like, it's okay to struggle. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to take those risks. Because at the end of the day, like I told you earlier, it's not about the money, right? It's about doing what God tells you to do because that's what's going to fulfill you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
man.
sure.
I mean, just taking that leap of faith, man. It was scary, and but Jazz, she really got me through it. She pushed me every day, and just knowing that I know God is not gonna leave me. I know He's not gonna leave me. And there were times where I felt like you left me, right? I got a repossession on my car. I'm
Yeah.
getting all these hits to my credit. My phone bill is due. I have no gas. Like, it was just one thing after the next. And I'm showing all of these houses to people, and nobody wants to buy. I'm like, come on, man. What's wrong with this house? Oh, the yard too small. They don't have enough. Man, 3 months in, 4 months in, and I still haven't sold the deal. And then when you finally do sell a house in real estate, you don't typically get paid until like 30 days because it takes
Yeah.
time to actually for it to close. And so, but once I got that first check, I was like, I had a little bit of breathing room, but I had to pay all my bills I was behind on. But I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I just said, let me just stay on top of it.
That's cool. So, what's the first step? Say somebody watch this and reach out to you,
Mhm.
and they want to buy a house. Walk me through the process with them. How? What would you tell them first?
The first thing I would say, we're going to sit down and talk about what you're looking for. Because most people, they kind of just get on Zillow and just scroll and save houses all day. But it's like, you really have to find out what exactly are you looking for? Like, what works for you? My oldest has special needs, so I wouldn't buy a house with stairs in it, right? So you might need, bigger rooms because your bed is a king size. You might need more space because of dogs, but we'll find out what you need first. And then we need to get you approved. So we'll talk with the lender, see about getting you approved for a loan to see how much you actually qualify for, right? I have $1 million homes saved on Zillow on my phone. I'm never going to buy, right? I don't have $1 million to buy a $2 million house, but find out how much you're approved for, and then we set up your home search so you can start getting listings that fit that criteria. And then from there, man, it's pretty easy. You find a house, you write a contract, go through your inspections and things like that. But I think buying a house is so easy, and the media, the news, they all make it so complicated because you don't need 10% down, 5%, let alone 3.5% down. Most of my clients don't put anything down. So don't let money be the thing that stops you from buying a house. Just talk with the real estate agent and say, hey, look, this is my situation. I make, 5, 6, 7 grand a month, whatever it is, and I can afford to pay, whatever, 1,500, 1,600 bucks a month. Can you help me? And let them help you. Let them help you, man, because home prices are only going up. And like I said,
Yeah.
whether you're renting or owning, if you're paying 1,500 at both, it's the same thing. What's the difference? Build
Yeah.
some equity for yourself.
So tell me a little bit because I never heard about no money down. So tell me a little bit about what that looks like.
Yeah. So you have a few programs, and it varies state by state, but they're pretty much the same. So the first one is like a USDA loan, which is like a government loan for rural areas.
Okay.
So like out in the county, the country areas. Um, but these are zero down loans backed by the government. So, it does have some stipulations. You have to have like a 620 credit score or something like that to qualify. And you can't make over a certain amount of money. But if you have like a 4-person household, the limit may be around 130 to $140,000, which most people don't make that much money. So, but you have the USDA, you have grants, a grant program, which I use a lot. This is basically free money. Banks give out free money, literally $15,000, $17,000 for you to use as your down payment. And as long as you live there for at least 5 years, it's forgivable.
Hmm.
So they give you 15 grand, you go find a house, they use that money as a down payment. You can use some of it for your closing costs. And if you move before the 5 year period, they'll prorate it and you'll pay some of it back when you sell your home. But if you're gonna be there for 5 years, didn't cost you a thing. So
Yeah.
USDA down payment assistance, they have something called step up programs, which are zero down programs with no PMI, no mortgage insurance, and then they have just standard down payment assistance, where the bank gives you the money for a down payment as a loan, but you pay it back when you make your mortgage payment each month. So those are 4 programs right there. And I mean, if you have a 600 credit score and you make at least $50,000 a year, if you're watching this, if you make 50,000 or more a year, I would say even 40,000 a year, and you have a 600 or higher credit score, you can buy a house. I promise you. If you have like an $800 car payment, you can't buy a house. But if you got those first two things, you can go out and buy a house right now. And I love to help you do it. Even if I don't live in your city, I'll give you some tips and tricks on how to do it.
Wow, thank you. That's good because not many people know. Everybody's like, most people know about FHA and like 20% down and stuff like that, but nobody really knows, or many people don't know about the zero down
They
option
just
that they have.
they don't believe it either when you tell them, what's the catch? Oh, got to be a catch. And it's like, it's no catch. But let's say if you bought a house and the bank required 3.5% down for an FHA loan and your payment was $1,000. If you put down 3.5%, it's only going to drop your payment by about $30 a month. So I tell people, would you rather give me 10 grand down right now, only for your payment to drop $30, or would you rather just pay $30 more a month? What would you do?
30
Pay
bucks more.
Exactly, because it's hard to save up 10 grand. Why would I want to give it all just to lower my payment 30? But you can make $30 in a day. You can go, I don't know, sell some plasma or some blood, or sell some shoes, some Play-Doh's closet, whatever. I don't know. But it doesn't make sense. Now, if you're putting down 100 grand, 200 grand, okay, yeah, that makes a little bit of sense. But for the most part, I just tell people, like, even if you have the money to put down, just don't. Like, it's not, in my personal opinion, it's not worth it.
Nice. All right. So, has there ever been a moment in your business or in your real estate journey that you were like, and I think you touch on it a little bit, man, I'm done with this. I can't do it.
Oh yeah, every day. Every day. And I mean, and I only say that because I love the business, like I love the work, but it's what I can't control. Like I can control how many calls I make, I can control how many, houses I go show. I can control a lot, but there are some things I cannot control, and that's what usually makes me upset. And it's really, this is going to sound so bad, but I hope it doesn't sound bad if you're watching this. It's just the mindset of people I talk to, because you talk to people, and a part of being in a sales profession is you have to get people to open up. So let's say if I see, Sammy, you've been looking at 100 homes in the past 2 days. I know you're looking to buy a house. You wouldn't be looking at 100 homes. So when I call you,
Yeah.
you say, "Oh no, I'm just looking." I said, "Okay, are you looking for yourself? Or looking for somebody else?" Nope, I'm just looking. And then you hang up. Now, deep down, I know you really want to buy, but you won't tell me my credit's bad. I don't think I make enough money, or I had a repossession 2 years. Like, you won't tell me the stuff I really need to hear to help you, but I can help you. But if you don't tell me, how can I help you? So that's the part that really just gets to me, because I really want to help people and I'm genuine, but they do not want to open up. And sometimes they do. I mean, that's part of me asking the right questions, which I really, really work at. Um,
Yeah.
but people have to know, like, not everybody wants to see you, um, you know, try to reach a goal that you can't reach. Like, I want to help you reach it, but just, we're here to help you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's a little bit just because the trust and seeing stuff happen where they trusted people and
Right.
then it went left for them. So I think that's mostly part, because even in therapy, even in this podcast space, you have to be able to communicate and build rapport, because
You
that's
do.
the most important thing. You got to connect with the person.
Absolutely. Somebody you can trust, like you said. And how do you build trust in 5 seconds? If you call me, if I called you, my first time calling you ever, because I saw you were looking at a home, how can I build trust in five? The first 5 seconds is all I have. Because, hey, this
Hmm.
is John with Matt Curtis Real Estate. Click. They hung up. And it's like, okay, so you call them back, they don't answer. Then you shoot them a text, and sometimes they say, stop calling me. And it's
Yeah.
like, but I see you still looking at houses every day. Like, you're looking I've had people look at houses for 2, 3 years, and I still follow up with them, and they still haven't answered the phone. And it's like, but what is it? You know,
Yeah.
We're waiting for that perfect moment where I finally got 20 grand saved, my credit score is at a 600, my kids moved out, and by that time, life can just flip.
Yeah.
House shoot up, interest rates could shoot up. You just never know. So if you're watching this, anybody who's watching this, whether it's real estate, your a husband or a wife you're trying to go after, a job, your children, whatever it is, like don't wait for the perfect moment. Just reach out where you are and try to get the help you need.
Nice. I saw you post a little bit about interest rates and you touched on it a little bit. So what if somebody's barrier is the interest rate? Oh, the interest rates are too high and I don't know if I want to jump in right now to buy a home. What would you tell them?
Yeah, I think that can be deceptive for people because most people don't even know what that means. They just know, oh, interest rates are high, right? So if I told you, hey, Sammy, I can get you in $1 million house for $20 a month, would you do it?
Of course, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Um, but when you got to closing, you found out the interest rate was 50%. Would you care? You probably wouldn't care. But your payment is only $20 a month. Most people only care about the payment. They don't really care about the rate. And I talked to people who bought their houses in the 70s and the 80s, and their interest rate was 13, 14%. Granted, houses were a lot cheaper back then, but if the payment makes sense, why not do it? You see what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Yeah, I never thought about it like that. That's true because I once you said that, I thought about my car that I just bought. Well, not just bought, but I when I was buying it, it was more about the payment versus the actual.
Absolutely. And somebody's watching this is probably going to comment and say, oh, interest rates, I got a 2%. Now, with a lower rate, you can qualify for more house. So let's say during COVID, interest rates were like at 2%. You can get a $400,000 house for like a $1,300 a month payment. Now, right now, a higher rate, let's say they're at 6%, you can get a $400,000 house, but your payment's going to be like 3 grand a month. So that interest rate definitely, raise that payment a lot. So you may not be able to get as much house, but you can still buy a house. Because guess what's going to happen? If you buy a house for 200 right now, your payment will probably be around $1,300 a month at 6%. But when rates drop down to a 2%, your $200,000 house is going to be worth $300,000. So now you have instant equity just because of the rates have changed. So if you sell your house now, you can sell it and walk away with a profit. Versus if you're still renting somewhere, if you rent I rented for 5 years, right? When you rent and you move out, how much money do you get back? Zero, nothing. Matter of fact, you have to pay them because you probably put a hole in the wall. Your kids and took a Sharpie and colored all on the wall and mess up the carpet. So you're paying them money to move out versus owning a piece of real estate, a house that whenever you sell it, you can walk away with some money. You can have an investment property. You can leave it to your children. You can do whatever you want. You can hang, blinds and curtains on the wall. You can screw a picture on the wall. Stuff you can do that you can't do in rentals.
Yeah. So there, I know there's two types of agents. There's seller agents and buyer's agents. So it sounds like you are mostly a buyer's agent because you deal with a lot of buyers.
Yeah, we can do both, and I do both. I prefer to work with buyers. I feel like for me, it's just a little bit more meaningful. Most of the sellers, I love working with sellers too, but just buyers, I just have a personal connection with buyers because I know that um, that mindset of like trying to find your first home and trying to understand how to do it. And, I help couples who are, 19 years old to couples. I had a lady who was 74 years old buying her first house.
Wow.
But this whole time she could have purchased, but she just felt like I don't think I could. I don't think I can.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just more meaningful for me working with buyers. But I love to work with sellers too.
Yeah. It sounds like you're changing a lot of lives, Drew, and through real estate. And
Mhm.
congrats, man. I'm happy that you took the jump because not many people would follow their purpose and believe that and
Yeah,
crush it.
absolutely. Absolutely, man. Just like you with this podcast. You took
Yeah.
that leap of faith, man. You never know when it's gonna blow up. It might take a year, 2 years, 3 years. It might happen overnight, but just gotta just do it. Just keep
Yeah.
going.
Is the consistency. And one person said it well. It's doing the hard stuff when everybody wants to quit. You just got to keep going.
Absolutely.
Because If you didn't keep going in real estate, where would you been today?
Back at the hospital. I was working in the psych ward at the hospital, and I mean that's what my degree was in. I went and got my master's for it and everything. And I mean, I love working with people. I love being just making people laugh and smile and just being a light when I go somewhere and do something. But when you're miserable, uh,
Yeah,
I mean, I was miserable because I mean it just felt like work. I get it like I
yeah,
had a purpose behind it. It was just you go to work, you get a paycheck. Go to work, get a paycheck. And everybody's like, "Oh, you can retire there. Oh, you can get your 401k and do this and do that." And I'm just like, "But I hate it here."
yeah,
That's all right. Be thankful you got a job. And I don't listen to nobody. I don't care what anybody's telling me to do. Like because you can have like cultures. Um, excuse me. You can have like culture's mindset where they'll tell you to do something just because somebody else is doing it, and you will be trapped there miserable for, like I said, 30, 40 years.
yeah,
And you wishing the whole time you would have pursued, starting the podcast.
yeah. So I like what you said because it doesn't feel like work. But how was the psych ward and working with mental health? Because what was your degree in?
Psychology. So I had a psych degree, and then I went and got a master's in psych, and that was like an organizational development and effectiveness and running like a business. Um, but man, that's some that's some intense work, man. You see the movies and stuff, but when you actually work in it, I mean, I'm already like a spiritual person. Like, I believe in Jesus, the Bible. I believe in all of everything.
Yeah,
The Bible I believe in. So like, but when you work in a psych ward, you see this stuff firsthand. I mean, I don't know if y'all believe in demons and stuff watching it, but man, it's real. And I feel so bad because some people they never thought in a million years they would end up in a psych ward needing
yeah,
mental health. And some people probably will need it for the rest of their lives, need the help. And some people might be able to get off the medication and go back into society and function like a normal person. But it's tough, man. So I just try, like I said, to just spread love and just spread light wherever I was. But for me, it's a lot to take on mentally for me because I would go there, I would see all this that's going on, and then I got to go back home and try to do real estate because I was working both at the same time. But I couldn't even focus on real estate because my mind was like, man, I had this patient last night, and, oh man, I had a patient come in one night and he had like a key ring, and it had maybe 100 keys on it, like a big old like janitor key ring. And so, I'm checking them in, and I'm just like, what's with all these keys? He said, I got to lock all my stuff up at night. And I said, lock up all your stuff? And he was like, yeah. I said, like what? He was like, well, I let my friend move in, and then all her, girlfriends and her guy friends started moving in. So they're always, going in my fridge, going in my gun safe, going in my cabinet. So I bought locks and locked all of them up so they can't get access to it. I said, okay, well, that's smart. And so I'm just checking them in, just thinking, I'm telling one of the other, personnel I work with, like, yeah, this guy with all these key rings. And so the doctor comes in the next day after the evaluation. She comes back to talk to me, saying how to check in, go. I said everything went great. He was telling me about the people living with him. And she said, well, that's the thing. She said he lives by himself. And I was
gee,
like, mine was blown. I said, so this guy has 100 keys on his keychain and all of these locks, and he lives by himself. But he's been living like that for so long that he
yeah,
thinks he's taking all of his stuff. And so when I go back out in the real world and I'm, selling houses and interacting with people, I think about these people who how blessed we are. Me and you, we're blessed to be able to just have our right minds and start podcasts and
yeah,
have jobs. But some people, they rely on personnel to take care of them, doctors and nurses and, PTs, OTs to take care of
yeah,
them. And you really have to have a heart for that kind of work. And I had a
yeah,
heart for that kind of work, but I feel like I don't have the kind of heart where I can do this for the rest of my life. So that's why I was like, I need to step out and go into something else because I I'm too emotional to do this. Like for the next,
yeah.
yeah,
He sounded like he had schizophrenia or something.
he did. Yeah, schizophrenia, bipolar, everything you name it. But I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, I can tell you 100 stories, man, about just the crazy stuff. Yeah, but
yeah.
it's intense.
No, it's interesting because I'm also therapist. I'm working towards my license
Hmm.
um, as a social worker. So it's interesting that you had that experience because I could relate to it because
Yeah,
I see it now in substance use.
for sure.
Um, but For me, it's just like you said earlier, it's not like work. When I talk to them, I'm seeing a whole person. I'm seeing that they can be whole and complete again despite what they've been through.
Right.
Because sometimes with substance use, it's mostly sometimes they've been through trauma, which
Correct.
they um, went
Fine.
through.
Yeah,
However, they just need to get through that and process it in order to be whole and complete again.
absolutely.
So I tell each one of them, I'm just here on your journey. I'm here to guide you to being whole and complete again.
That's good.
And it's been an awesome experience. So that doesn't feel like work, but I don't know if I could do the psych ward. That seems like it's gonna
Yeah,
take a toll.
I needed a job, so and I was like,
I commend you for that.
for sure. But every job, like everybody who's watching this, every job that you have, whether you're working at a hospital, working at Burger King, wherever you are, like I feel like your purpose there is to help people.
Yeah.
Even if you're just making fries, right, at a fry machine.
Mhm.
Like, people don't think that's a big thing, but it is. Like, what if you're not changing the oil right? If somebody gets sick, like your job there is to serve people the best you can. Because I don't really eat fast food that much, but I know when I used to get hot fries versus cold fries. Like, cold fries will make me mad. I'm gonna drive off. I'm gonna be, ticked off a little bit. Like, man, they gave me these cold fries. Now I'm driving to work eating these cold fries. But if they hot, kind of make your spirit jump a little bit. Like, okay, they hooked me up with the hot fries. Right, we good. So you can make an impact no matter what you do.
Yeah, and I think purpose is just such a thing that no we don't really understand,
Mm.
right? Because people think purpose is out there, like they gotta find it, but it's your purpose. What is your purpose? What are you put here to do? And it takes a lot of soul searching to get to it because not many people could find it. You know.
But I think they can though. Like, I think it's always right here. It's right in front of you, but you dismiss it. You know what I'm saying? When I applied for
Yeah.
like, jobs, when I was on Indeed, it'll tell you what the purpose of the job was. So the job is telling
Mhm.
me what the purpose is. The purpose is to, serve clients the freshest, coffee that we can make at the coffee shop, whatever. But that's their purpose. But what's your purpose? Like, if God is giving you a gift to sing or to um,
Yeah.
be a counselor or a therapist, like that's your purpose. Like, that's what you're good at. And I see some people. I have a friend now. He can play the trombone, not trombone. What is
Yeah.
it? He plays the trombone
Okay.
and a bass guitar. He's
Okay.
amazing. He plays on his church on Sundays. He's probably gonna watch this, but he plays the trombone and a bass guitar, and he's a car salesman. And I'm just thinking, like, why are you selling cars, man? Like, clearly your gift is music, you know. But I think for him, it's just trying to, how can I make that transition from being a car salesman to a full time musician? Because he does do it, but how can he do it full time, make a living from it? And I think that's where the faith steps in. Because when you step in halfway, 50%, God will step in and do the other 50%. But most people live their lives just, I'm gonna just stay in this comfort zone. This is where I'm good at. I
Yeah.
won't go further than this. But literally, one step away can be from you being a car salesman to you being on stage playing with some of the greatest bands who ever existed. So I
Yeah.
just want to be inspired by that to just say, like, you know what your gift is. Everybody knows what their gift is. If they don't, I promise you, I can hang out with you for 10 minutes and know exactly what your gift is. And I can say, this is what you're supposed to do. So,
Nice. So I got a few more questions. We're coming towards the end, right? So one of the questions that I want to ask is how do you deal with investors versus normal buyers?
oh yeah, it's not that difficult. Investors are, they're just like regular buyers. Everybody wants something that works for them. The questions are a little bit different because the investor is more, money conscious. Cash flows, cash on cash returns, things like that. So they want to more know about the technical side. They want to know, how is this property going to be a good investment for me? Whereas a traditional buyer is just, how is this home going to work for me and my family? You see.
Okay.
But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, man, you don't treat them any different. You might provide them with a little bit more information about the home and market appreciation and just things like that. But overall, I don't look at them any different.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, what are some books that you have read that got you to where you are today?
Oh man, I got a ton of books. My wife, she turned my office into like a we homeschool our kids, so like this is like a home. So you can't,
Okay.
but yeah. So Robert Kiyosaki, I'm sure you read that book before.
Oh,
You
yeah.
That Poor Dad. He also has a book called Unfair Advantage, which is a great book. Anybody who has a teenager, I highly recommend that book. Um, Grant Cardone, 10X Rule. I also read a lot of like sales training books. So I always go to the thrift store and just buy books. But Verbal Judo, um, 10X Rule. I said that. What to say at the right time. I can't think of what it's called. What to say at the right time. And in the Bible, man. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
The
the best
Bible.
direction you're gonna get, man. You can get everything from that book. Um, and also the book of real estate by Robert Kiyosaki too is a good book
Yeah.
too. So it's a little bit in depth, but yeah, man. I mean, all of those books though, just being honest with you, like that's more information for me just to know, like if for my own personal like investing and stuff like that. But I think the best book you're ever gonna learn from is just the book of life. Right? Just personal experience, conversation like I'm having with you. Because you were asking me questions about real estate, and it sounds like you're looking to buy a house. Well, somebody looking to buy a house, yeah. Um,
No, I already bought. I have a house already, so I'm asking for people outside.
just make sure, man. Call me if you need me.
For
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, it's just, yeah, man. Just I think just really caring about people. My dad always says like people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, and that's
Yeah.
the real statement. So when I make those phone calls and introduce myself, I'm just trying to get people to know, like, even though I just met you for the first time, I care about you, right? That's just the Bible tells you to love everybody. Everybody deserves love. You love everybody. So I love you and I care for you just off the first time I'm talking to you. But I really want you to know, like, I'm not gonna do anything to put you in a bad position. I'm not gonna put you in a house you can't afford. If I don't think
Yeah.
you can afford it, I will tell you I don't think you should buy this house. It's not my call, but I want to help you. But people have to be receptive and open up their hearts to say, hey, help me, please. Like I want you to help me. I went to the doctor, and the first thing he did when I went, he just started asking me a bunch of questions, and that's letting me know you actually care. Because some doctors say, "Oh, you got a headache? Yeah, I got a headache. Okay, we'll take these pills." But some good doctors will say, "Well, how long have you had a headache? You know,
Yeah.
when did it start? Your diet change, any kind of stresses, anything in your life change, they start asking questions. And I think asking questions is like the key to being successful in life and in sales.
Yeah. For sure. And I like that you pointed out the Bible because one of the things that stood out for me over the last couple of weeks that I've been reflecting and learning is that I used to say a Bible verse. I learned a Bible verse in fourth grade,
Mhm.
and I didn't know how much effect that had on life until I reread it now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know of Psalms 1, that blessed is the man that walk in that. And I'm not getting into too deep of it, but it just says if you are meditating day and night, you should be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that beareth forth its fruit in its season.
Yeah.
And right then and there, it just hit me like the plan is already laid out. If you
Yeah.
meditate day and night, he talked about fasting in the Bible. So if you fast, meditate, you're gonna be like a tree planted in the rivers of the water. So you just gotta do those things and multiple things, other things that come with it to bear those fruits and have that success that you're looking for
Yeah.
and have the spiritual success versus the reality success.
Correct. That's good, man.
So
You spot on with that. But I don't think a lot of people believe they believe in God, they believe in Jesus, but do you really believe that the word is true? Because
yeah,
the Bible is basically principle. It's telling you what principles to live by. And if you do it, it's gonna happen, right? God cannot lie. So he wouldn't put something in that book that won't happen, right? If you read, you will sow. And that's even if you're a non-believer, that's spiritual principle. If you reap, you will sow, right? What
yeah,
goes up must come down. That's principle.
hmm
That's laws already set into place that cannot be changed. but we really have to dive into it and actually apply it to our lives. But like you said, you got to humble yourself, and you have to take faith. You have to have the faith to actually move on it too. So if it ain't working, then there's some faith lacking somewhere in there.
So I got a question from the chat, so I'm just gonna share it right quick. Have you had any closing day surprises, like they bought a car or furniture, etc., and now the deal is like gone, they can't close?
Oh no, I haven't had anybody buy a car, but I have had people like lose a job, like
Uh,
they lose a job, so or their credit score. I just had one happen a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, the guy the day before closing, he wrote me and said, "Hey man, my credit card just got ran for a bunch of stuff." He said, "But I'm paying it tonight," and it dropped his score like 40 points. But I mean, he unfortunately he was still able to close. It just took a little bit longer. But no horror stories about closing. Yeah. I tell
okay.
all my clients, do not go out and buy a car. Don't go buy any furniture. Don't do nothing with your credit card. I might just start asking for the credit card. Look, just give it to me.
Yeah. All right. So, Rashawn, I want to thank you for coming on here. I got one more question for you. What's one thing that you thought that I was gonna ask, but I didn't ask you?
Uh, I don't know, man. I didn't have anything crazy. Uh, nothing. I don't think
Okay.
I'm good.
That's
Yeah,
good. That's good. Usually I get like, hey, you didn't ask me about this, and this is important, but I think I covered my bases with you.
yeah. No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I don't have anything. Yeah, I think you did a great job asking questions. Like I said, it was just a conversation, but you did a
Yeah.
good job, man. And I just pray for your podcast. Pray that God blesses it, and it's just one day you're gonna be interviewing somebody, Denzel or somebody on here, somebody, and I'm gonna just be going back on YouTube trying to check how many views my video got. 20? No, get 200,000. No, you just never know.
is gonna get there for sure, because once that starts happening, you're automatically gonna get the views, the likes, all that good stuff coming towards you as well.
For
Because
sure.
people are gonna be like, oh, what does this guy had to say? You know?
Hey, man, listen. You never know, man. One day, I had a prophet prophesy over me a couple of years ago, and I was real like, kind of like, man, I don't know this dude. But anyway, he prophesied and just told me a bunch of stuff about just me and my success, and I truly believe it's gonna happen. And I think one day we're gonna look back on this podcast. I'm gonna be at such a point of where I can't even believe God put me here. And I'm gonna look back at this podcast, and it's gonna be just so inspirational to just say, like, I was here. Me and you both were here. With
Yeah.
whatever 50 subscribers or 20 subscribers, and now we have 5 million. And not to say that to be to brag, but just to say like God can do things in your life and put you in positions to bless others.
Got one more question for you.
Yeah.
Dealing with a family with special needs and 4 children, right?
Yes.
Um, how do you manage all of that in your day to day, knowing that you have to deal with that, especially with being a realtor?
Oh yeah, and that's like the secret. Nobody ever asked me that question. That's a good question to ask because, excuse me, having a child with special needs is one of the hardest things you'll ever have to do in life, man. Because it's so private, because people don't see what goes on in your home and what you deal with.
Yeah.
My son is 9, but they don't see the medication, the emergency medication when he's having a big seizure, the change in the diapers, the nonverbal, like him having seizures and hitting his head and busting his chin and knocking his tooth out. Like they don't see all of that. But every time they see me, I'm smiling, I'm laughing, I'm cracking jokes, I'm just always in a good mood. Um, but that's why I like my broker. And his name is Matt Curtis. Matt Curtis Real Estate. He's a great guy. Owns a great company. Runs a great brokerage. But when I met him, I told you the first thing he said was, God comes first, your family comes second, and real estate comes third. So all my clients know, like I tell them, like I'm going to do everything I can to take care of you and help you throughout this transaction. But everybody knows my family comes first. Like
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. So if there's a client that wants to go see $1 million house and I'm the agent on call and I have my special needs son at home with me, and there's no way I can go, and he says, I have cash, I'm ready to pay right now, I will say, okay, well, let me put you with somebody who can help you. And that's tough to do because the flesh for most people is, I got to go get the money. I got to go get the money.
Yeah.
God is saying, you take care of your family and I'll take care of the rest. So for me, it's really just about, knowing that I'll get to the work when I get to the work. If I can't make 100 calls or 50 calls today, I can only make 10. I'm just making 10. I told my therapist, what did I tell him? I told him, you control the process, but you don't control the outcome. I can make 100 calls, but I might, I don't control who's gonna pick up the phone, who's gonna turn into a deal. I just do the work and let God bless the rest. So,
Yeah. Nice.
yes, sir.
So, Rashawn, I want to thank you for coming on and being a part of Be Inspired podcast.
Yeah,
Um, Thank you for coming out. I appreciate you being open and sharing your story and sharing what you've been through.
thank you, sir. You can put the little words on here like you do on
Yeah,
on
yeah,
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 okay, yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you for having me once again, brother. Once again, I just wish you, many, many blessings over your podcast, sir.
So, guys, if you've been tuning in, I want to thank you guys, all 120 subscribers. Keep subscribing, like, share, comment. If this resonated with you, go ahead and comment and share what was the best part. And if you want to connect with Rashawn, tell them how to connect with you, Rashawn.
Yeah, so I just got on TikTok. So TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, it's all the same. Roshan, the realtor, Rochon, the realtor. Yeah, so man, feel free to DM. I put my phone number everywhere, so feel free to call me. Feel free to give me a text, or feel free to send me an email. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. So it's gonna be all linked up below, and go check out the store, get your merch, be inspired, inspiring you to live the abundant life you deserve. We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you,
Peace,
Rashawn. Peace
sir. Yeah.
out, everybody. Good night.